Slinging seeds, sliding on into home, throwing heat, buddy, we're going, gone. If you gotta go down, you gotta go down, swinging, slinging seeds. It's America's favorite pastime. Come on, let's have a good time, slinging seeds. Yeah, we're just slinging seeds.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another week of Slinging Seeds. I am your host, Kyle Evans, and always across the table from me is my co-host, Doug Adams, and our very special guest today is our good friend, Marty Orwick. Marty, just like Doug and I, recently has gained a coaching position. He's been named as the new head coach of Dayton Christian Varsity Baseball. So we would like to invite Marty on today's episode and kind of give a backstory and see where Marty's at and recheck in with him. Marty, I just wanted to tell you, I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, I've known Marty for 100 years, and the opportunity at Dayton Christian came up. I know they had multiple interviews. You went through the process, you took a shot at it, and got the head coaching job at Dayton Christian. I think the easiest place to start is, what's the first instinct? What's the first reaction to being named head coach at Dayton Christian?
Blessing, thankfulness, gratefulness, calling, all of the words. It's just like it was a something that has been waiting to happen. That's happening.
So more or less just kind of in the plan, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are getting into coaching high school baseball. I mean, obviously you've coached our 14U, or 15U now, or now 15s. You've coached that group for
A long time.
now. And you've put in a lot of hard work. I know Doug and I both see the amount of effort you put into your team, and I'm so excited to see what he's going to do at Dayton Christian. I think it's going to be great. So tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are about entering the high school game at Dayton Christian.
I think that the game is the game. Obviously, I believe that I'm probably set up the best to coach this age group and this level. Because they have expectations, especially coming from a system that Doug ran, set it up where there are systems in place. We don't have to knock it down and rebuild it. We have to build on it. So I believe that they have an expectation of excellence, and it's about, in my estimation, anytime I'm coaching, it's about bringing the disciple out of them to empower the athlete in them. And I believe that they're set up to do that already. So it's just about growing them. Continuing to build on what's already been built and expand it. And I just, anything can go wrong, but I stay out of God's way, and I don't see a whole lot of negatives in this one.
You carry the torch.
For sure.
I guess, so my next question is, if you go through an interview process, because I've done it a few times over the years, right, where you sit down in an interview, what was your thought process going into the interview? Is it something you knew you wanted? You were unsure? Like, because I've been in both positions, right?
Yeah.
And then as you got to talk to Luke Hurst, the athletic director, through that conversation, how did it clear up for you that, yeah, this is something I'd be very interested in? Kind of curious how the mental process went through the situation.
Well, it happened really fast, because everything with you happened really fast. And we're in the middle of, the West Palm trip and tying up the season and recruiting for the new season and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden I get a message from Luke asking if I could meet with him when I got back. So I hightailed it back and then changed, went over, met him. And then right when I sat down with him was kind of the moment that I realized that this isn't really a negotiable. There weren't any nerves. There wasn't any thought process, really. It kind of like when God calls, you answer. Just was like that. We sat down and we didn't talk a ton of baseball in the first meeting. We just talked who I was, what I believed in, uh, how would I fit, so on and so forth. And I don't know, kind of weird because it like I said, it happened so quick that I didn't have a whole lot of time to think. I've always wanted to coach any sport at its highest level. Like I always want to do that. I always want to get into a scenario where I can build young men, build their spirit, build their uh, fundamentals and their competitive spirit. But this was just a no-brainer from the get-go. Just it was never not an option to not coach.
I kind of have like a unique perspective I'd like to take. So with you, Doug, I mean, you've known Marty for a while, so it's,
Yeah.
that's already been said. But with you being the previous Dayton Christian head coach, um, tell us a little bit about your excitement or your thoughts on the hire of Marty at Dayton Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I think Luke does a really, really good job, and I think he turns over all rocks, right? And he did the same thing with he hired two killer basketball coaches with men and women's basketball this year. And I was fortunate enough to be in some of the interviews for the boys basketball job. Um, so I mean, I think first things first, the I will say the things that we needed to improve on going into this off season with my plan and where our weakness was as a group last year. I think Marty does a better job of that stuff than I do. Um, so I think he's going to really, and Marty and I have had this conversation, and I've had this conversation with Luke too. I'm not going to say what those things are because that's a private in team decision.
Right.
But there are some things that team has to address that Marty does a better job organically teaching on a day in and day out basis than I do.
Yeah.
So for the team, I'm really excited about what he can bring, right? I'm really excited about the culture of the team and the people and the mentoring and all those things that he's really, really good at, which I think is going to make a big difference in that group. It's a very talented group, right? So a lot of them are really good baseball players. A lot of them play really high level baseball in the summertime. So it's like there's a lot there, right? And so I mean, I think for me, I'm happy it stayed in the family. Now there were other coaches that I know were talked to for the position, and I like most of them, pretty much all of them. I like them all, right? I shouldn't say most. That's not the word I was looking for, right? I like all those guys that were going to interview for the Dayton Christian head coaching job. But selfishly, I wanted it to stay in the family,
Yeah.
right? So that part I'm thrilled with because I mean, it's one of my guys, right? It's a guy I trust. It's a guy I know that is player first, right? It's not about him. And it would have broke my heart to see a coach go to Dayton Christian that was there for his own accolades. Like that would tear me up inside. So I'm very, very excited about the hire.
Marty, what is about your experience with Luke Hurst so far? I've got to meet Luke through you. I think Luke's an amazing guy. Really knows his stuff, really knows what he's doing, got a handle on things really well. Tell me a little bit about your perspective of Luke Hurst and how things have been going so far with your communication.
He's a very authentic individual. He's very transparent, passionate, uh, all of those words. There's not a whole lot of layers to him. He is who he is, respectful, well-spoken, all those things. But of course, you kind of have to be that to be in his position. But he's looking for the right things in leaders. I know that. And he has a vision for the program as a whole. As Doug alluded to earlier, he's just knockout hire after knockout hire after knockout hire for that program over the last year. There's been a ton of turnover in that program in the last year. He's new to the position, but he's come in with the right understanding of how to build a sustainable program at a high level. And he also has the opportunity to show it through his coaching because he's the head coach of the football team.
Yeah.
So he's going to have the opportunity to show it there, and it's already shown in the numbers that are showing out. And the coaching hires there for the football team, that their football staff is, I mean, it is an all-star staff.
All-star staff. I mean,
I'm telling you.
He's went out and got all the best coaches. From
It's
the area.
unbelievable. Well, and the funny thing is that it's every one of them have said the same thing. They just, for some reason, they just felt called. And that's kind of the way God works, is if you glorify him, if you put him first, and then you demand excellence. And that's what he does. You can tell in the way that he presents himself that there's an expectation of excellence on the field and off the field. So yeah, I really appreciate the way he goes about what he's doing.
Yeah, I really like Luke, and I think Luke does a great job of it as an athletic director. I've
Yeah,
been a few.
he's an absolute great dude. Obviously, my son's on his football staff, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think his position has changed 4 times in the last 6 months because they've hired one really good coach after another really good coach. I mean, so Dylan will do anything,
Yeah.
whenever, however you want him to. So it's really, really fun. But I really enjoy Friday nights. Like Friday nights, there's the reason I don't do lessons in here on Friday nights till football season ends. Friday nights I go to Dayton Christian. I mean, unless Clark State's playing now, right? I'll be at the
Right.
Dayton Christian football games
Right.
and all that stuff. So I guess my next question would be: so you're coming into a situation, you're the new head coach, right? Some of the guys, I know you had a meeting. Some of the players told me you guys had a meeting where some of the players could come, some couldn't, right? Based on football schedules and this and that. What would you say to a player that couldn't be at the meeting about what you're bringing to Dayton Christian? How would you describe what you're bringing to Dayton Christian to a player in that first conversation?
I'm bringing a servant-minded intensity. I'm bringing a lot of what's been brought already. Like I said, I'm not trying to rebuild or break down something that's been built. But the first thing that I said to the parents, I said, I want to call out the elephant in the room. I love Doug Adams. I've known him for 20 years. I'd die for him, and I'm not him. We're not the same. We do things differently, and that's a good thing. We have the same mindsets as far as excellence and performance and results and things like that, but we go about it a different way. And as you just alluded to, I have a very strong calling to speak to the minds and hearts of young men, to build them up in Christ, and to teach them that you don't have to be meek and weak to honor God in sports and in life. It's the opposite. David took a towel and a rock and took out Goliath. I mean, that takes some guts. So we are going to be fundamentally sound. We're going to do all the things that we've done. We're going to be aggressive. All of those things, because that's the best way to play baseball, intuitive. But I also want to make sure that we're speaking to their hearts and that we're growing as much or more off the field as we are on. And I believe that there's a good foundation for that you all have built, and we can just grow that. So self-accountability is a big thing. Managing your emotions is a huge thing. There's a ton of places to grow for every athlete, so we're just going to individualize it and then keep the same team mentality of excellence and just keep building on it.
So, from an outsider's perspective, looking in, tell us a little bit about what you think Dayton Christian baseball is, and what you're going to bring to the table in the future.
If I was sitting in the stands watching a baseball game, DC baseball game before I was there, I would say that it was fierce, organized, high level, spirited, emotional, incredibly positive, and there was an expectation of excellence that was unspoken in the way that the mannerisms, a very well-oiled machine, right? Systematized even. Because of that, it allows me to go in and build on it and input more of an intuitive mental aspect to it, build on all of those foundational blocks that have been built. Not a lot of coaches get to go into a system as blessed as this one. And the only way I screw this up is if I try to compare myself, which I'm not trying to be him. I can't be him. Very few people can, because of how much of his life has been completely engulfed in baseball. Walking encyclopedia. I thank God for it in a lot of different ways. But I want to bring the mental aspect to that game. Intuition on a higher level, being able to take all these things, build on them to where they start triggering themselves, right? To where we can even take it to a higher level. and build a brand of baseball that maybe nobody's even seen. I think that that's the opportunity that lies there, because my strength is in empowering the individual to understand how to best contribute to a team setting. Because baseball is an individual game in a team setting. And the best teams, every individual understands the part of the body that they are. And they don't value themselves over the other. They understand what their roles are, and they do that incredibly well, and it turns into competitiveness and wins on the field.
Yeah, I guess my next question would be, after hearing that, and we go through this process, and you're a leadership guy by trade. That's one of the things I value in our relationship is the most is kind of the leadership, the mentoring, the things of that nature. You have an interesting position that you're walking into because the entire leadership team of the 2025 team is gone with Alec, Noah, Caleb, right, and
Yeah.
Justice. So the talent is still there. There's a ton of baseball talent, but nobody who has led prior. So how do you use that opportunity with some fresh faces as leaders, player leaders, to your advantage?
Well, they're more moldable. They don't have the habits. They don't have the trends. They don't have the history. That it's a new bag. And there are players that were there when you were there, so they understand the system. But I believe that there's a huge opportunity for growth, and it does give the opportunity for new guys to step up if that's what we focus on is leadership. And as far as how old they are, the disciples were teenagers, and they all had the opportunity, and they didn't have anybody before them. So I believe that walking into the situation that we're in gives the opportunity for anyone to step up and be a leader. There are some that are preset that we know that are going to lead. My seniors are going to lead by example, and they already understand what it means to be, an athlete there and to lead and to perform at a high level. My style of leadership has always been, I don't care how old you are. Time on job does not necessarily dictate leadership. Time on job plus what you bring dictates your leadership. So I believe that there's an opportunity for a lot of young people to show what they can do very early on, and they're going to need to.
I don't think this was recently. We found out about this last year.
Mhm.
Yep.
But we found out that Dayton Christian would be making its move to the SWBL. You don't really strike me as a guy that's intimidated by anything. So tell me what you think about being in a new conference, playing new teams. It's a new look for Dayton Christian. Tell me a little bit about what you think about moving to the SWBL.
I never want to shy away from competition. I welcome it because I've always taught my guys at any level of any sport, it's not about the other side. It's about you all. It's about you all going to battle with each other. If anybody's wearing the same jersey as you, that's what your focus is. Your focus is on being the best version of yourselves in whatever situation we're in. We're going to have to bring our best in that conference. Completely understand that. And my message is that don't eat the flour, because flour tastes bad. But if you put all the ingredients together and you let the cake bake, cake tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
So let the process work out. Focus on the process. Focus on the growth. Competition is what it is. I believe we have every bit of talent to be able to compete in whatever situation we put ourselves in. And I believe that God is able and does a lot of amazing things with a lot of, with any situation that we put ourselves in. If we honor God and then work our tails off and our focus is each other and not ourselves and not the other team or any of that, I'm not afraid of competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think a good follow up there is, I think if we're being real here, right? You won the Metro Buckeye was won 8 years in a row, right? Before I got there, right? We never lost while we were there as a staff. But now going into the SWBL, I think you have to be honest with yourself about what situation you're going to, and you're in year one, right? So, what does a successful year one in the SWBL look like? How would you define that now prior, which I know is a very difficult question, but there has to be a pre expectation set so we know what you're chasing, right? You always need to have the result, and then you build a plan to get there.
Sure.
What is success for you in year one at Dayton Christian?
Success for me in year one at Dayton Christian as a whole is competitiveness every time we take the field. We never lay down. You have to beat us. And then we grow as athletes and grow as men. And I believe they're hand in hand. I believe it's absolutely integral. And when you grow with the strength inside of a person to believe in more than themselves, it puts a better athlete on the field that is more prepared to excel at those levels that we're going to have to excel. I'm not going to put a number on a win and loss because that's just not who I am. It's not what I do. I believe that we have to compete and have the ability to win every game that we play. That's the expectation. Otherwise, why are we taking a field? Don't put a uniform on if you don't want to win. And don't have anything left when you're done. And if you do that with the group of guys that I've got and what we will instill in them on top of what's been instilled. Again, I don't fear competition. I don't ever put limits on anything. It's just who I am.
So with us talking about the SWBL, it's very obvious that that you're a Division 6 team in a conference filled with teams that are higher,
Sure,
in higher divisions. And like we said earlier, you're not intimidated by anything. But I want to know how that helps you leading into the state tournament. Do you think it helps you? Do you think it makes you worse? Just tell us a little bit about what you think.
I think that anybody can beat anybody on any given day if you're not prepared. So the grand scheme of the world is we need to be prepared the same way every day to play baseball at the level that we are expected to play baseball. Because it's not about the opponent. And anytime that I ever am in front of people, they're going to hear that ad nauseum. However, I do believe that having to play against a higher level of talent because of more kids available, so on and so forth, it can't not make you better.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, I welcome it. I'm appreciative of it because it can't not prepare us to be excellent when we enter into our state tournament. It's not possible when you're playing against bigger. I don't want to say better, but better, more talent pool, right? You have a higher chance of running up against a guy that's got some stuff that you may not have seen.
Right.
Great. I'm glad for that. I want my guys to fail through that and learn to persevere through that and grow from that. And that builds the type of team that's going to be able to compete in our state tournament. So yeah, I welcome that opportunity because I think it's one of the best things that can happen to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the other thing. I want to take that a little further. Obviously, playing D4 and D5 is going to help you get ready for D6. It's just
Has
basic
to.
math, right? It
Yeah.
has to, right? It's going to help. How do you balance that with the non-con schedule, right? I mean, with the SWBL, you're going to play 14 conference games.
Mhm.
High school rule, you get 27, right? So you get 13 non-con. How do you balance taking that step up in the conference and balance the other 13 as well? Where would you like to address that? How would you like to approach the non-con games?
Lather, rinse, repeat. Don't take a day off because a D6 will be as fast as a D3 or a D4. Focus on what we're teaching in every game that we're in, no matter who's on the field. I mean, we're going to work opportunities to get other guys in and grow them as well. We may get opportunities in some games scheduled to do that. It's about growth and development, but it's about excellence. One of the things that's different about, summer ball and scholastic ball is it is about winning here.
Yes.
It's about development here. I don't care about the medal rings and the trophy. I mean, they're great, but that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's a mixture of both. I believe it's still about growing and developing first because it creates the other,
Mm-hmm.
but there's an expectation to win here.
Yes.
Right? So that's what our focus is, whether it's D4, D3, D6, whatever it is. We go out to win regardless. We take the field the same way regardless, every single time. And it shouldn't really matter who's on the other side of the field. If they're better than us that day, they win. If we're better, we win. That's kind of how baseball is going to work. It works. So
I like that. I want to ask like an off-topic question to you. I feel like you brought up the summer game and the in the school ball. We get a lot of time with our summer players.
Yes.
I mean, we are with them from August to July, it seems, 12
Yeah.
month around.
Really 9 because of high school baseball.
Oh, high school
Outside
ball,
of the
right? Yeah.
moratorium and yeah.
But with that being said, like with us getting like 9 months around these kids, and we only get so much time with the high school guys. Well, we used to. Tell me like how you would balance or differ in coaching, or like, oh, I need to, really grow this relationship with this kid, but I only have so long, versus, the 9 month plan where you have all this time. Like how you balance it.
Well, for me, I don't.
Right.
I don't do balance.
Yeah.
I don't believe it exists. So I would just find a way to make sure they got the same 9 months at the high school level that I gave the summer kids. Now there's ways you can do that. We did some open fields, right? And now we've done that less since Luke got there because the previous football coach, I'll just say I recommended players not play football at Dayton Christian, right? And when Luke got there, that changed. So we didn't do the open fields like we did, but as soon as football ends in November, we started our 6-man instructional groups, right? So I think a lot of what you're saying in developing that relationship and that respect was those guys saw me in the stands every Friday night, right? Now I know it doesn't seem like a big deal. Well, so what? The baseball coach came to a football game, but I can promise you that after a big win, when they're still in uniform, I have pictures that they wanted me to come down on the field and take pictures with them. It matters that you show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean we take 2 months off. You text them about their game on Friday night, right? How you feeling? Hey, how's the ankle? How's the shoulder? How's the ribs? How whatever. And just let them know that you genuinely care, right? And then I think the way you do it is you have a set standard and schedule of this is what we do this day. So there's no secret coming up this time of year. Hey, in November, we're going to start our 6-man instructional groups. Did I have time to do 6-man instructional groups? Probably not. But did I do them? Yes. Right. So November, December, January, we all did 6-man instructional groups. Now, 6-man instructional groups can be incredibly frustrating because it takes a lot of time and a lot of days, and you got to give up a lot of time for your family, but you have to do it. Right. So there are ways that you can get that 9-month feel at Dayton Christian, and I feel like we always did. I mean, honestly, Dayton Christian's a very unique situation because in most instances, high school players will tell you, I play high school ball to get ready for my summer season. That's not the way at Dayton Christian. Every kid on the Dayton Christian roster goes, this means more, right? And so it has to mean more to the coach as well. And that's why we had success. That's why we mattered, right? That's why it mattered. I mean, coming in here, and our guys would be in here 5 days a week from November to till tryouts, right? And a lot of high school programs, I got 2 days off season. I got 3 days off season. And there's 40 guys in there. And, we can't instruct because we're not going to do open groups. But I think as a coach, you could make that decision on if you want that time with your players and that development, you can get it. But you have to understand that means you're going to give away some of your personal time. You're going to give away some time with your wife. You're going to give away some time with your kids. And I mean, so I always made the decision that it was important enough to do that. I'm not saying he should do that. But it was, that's how I did it. So for me, it was 9 months, right? I mean, you can't do anything in August, right? August is off. That's a dead period for the Ohio high school. But then, like, what else can you do, right? What else can you do? Like, the end of January, the beginning of January, ABCA. I always did that. And why did I do that? Not for myself, but for players. The state clinic. I always took the entire Dayton Christian staff and would get in a hotel room, and I would take the whole Dayton Christian staff to the state clinic, right? So not only are you developing your players, but you're developing your coaching staff, right? So I mean, I think for me, it was a 9-month program, right? Guys playing on another team in summer. Hey, how's your summer going? Shoot them a text. If you're in the same tournament as their team, right? Don't go out to lunch in between games. Go watch them play. Let them know you care, right? And I think so. I think you can do it the other way, right? And you can make up those months that we're talking about, but you have to be selfless and you have to make a decision that you're gonna give up free time and personal time and family time to let them know they're a priority.
I like that. From an outsider's perspective, it looks like 3 months compared to 9, but you
100%.
found your way to make it into 9.
I had to because I think that's what it takes to build a
I
baseball.
think that if you don't connect with a player when they're not playing your sport, then they're not going to buy in when they are. How you do it is Depends on your, like you said, depends on what your focus is. Excuse me, depends on how you're wired. But if you don't have a vested interest in the person over just the athlete, it's going to be much more transactional. And it's not what we're after. It's not what I'm after. I want the person to know that I care about the person over everything. And if it's important to me and I'm there for them, then it's important to them organically. It's not forced. It's not have to anymore. It's want to. I do believe in forcing balance because I've been where he is I've been there, and I understand the necessity for balance for the athlete because they're teenagers. So that doesn't mean that you're not involved with them. It means you might change the way you do something to make it feel a little different and not be monotonous. You may have a classroom setting. You know, there's a billion different ways to get baseball knowledge into their head and then put it out on, get reps in and get it cemented, right? There's a million different ways to do that, but it's necessary that we're doing it, that we're involved, and that we stay sharp, that we don't fall behind, that we understand the game so we can lead them the right way in it. And we don't fall into the same mistakes that a lot of teams do today, that just kind of show up, put a uniform on, play their season, and then go on about their way. It has to be different than that if we want it to be at a level that we expect, the level of excellence. So I agree with 100% with what he's saying. It's from the outside perspective. You show up, you watch them play games, and you move on. That's not ever what it's been. I don't know that any sport at any high level it has been that for a decade or more. It takes work all year round.
Yeah. So cool. Hey, the next thing I kind of want to talk to you about is Gina, right? Like, so where is she in this whole process? Where was she in making the decision? And what are her thoughts on you taking the head coaching job at Dayton Christian?
She is a blessing, and she was specifically crafted by God for my insanity. There never was a question. I asked it, but there never really was a question, because she knows that this is what I love. She knows that it's what God called me to do. And so there really wasn't a conversation. It was more of an expectation. And then as soon as she found out that I got the job, she was probably the most excited of anybody. She said, "I'm so proud of you. And I'm so happy for you. I know what this will do for your heart." So everybody that knows her knows, but I couldn't do it without her. Not a chance. Not a chance. So
I hope Krista doesn't hear that. She's gonna start telling people, "I'm perfectly crafted for Kyle's insanity."
that's exactly
She's gonna
right.
start saying that to people.
If she is, then you got the right one.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
got the right one.
That's right. And they don't make many of them. Trust me.
She's gonna be telling. She's gonna put it on a shirt. So historically, this program has played underclassmen. Had some. I mean, if you look at Al Coulter's freshman year, crazy, right?
Player of the year in the conference.
Player of the
freshman.
year. Conference as a freshman. But most coaches believe, in playing the guy with seniority, playing the guy with experience. Tell me your approach on that, and what your thought is about that, and how you plan to carry on the torch here.
Age determines experience, not excellence. If the older guy's better, he'll play because he should. If the younger guy's better because he's better, he'll play. Hopefully that motivates the older guy to step up. I'm an equal opportunity.
Right.
I don't care how old you are. I care how hard you play and what you put on the field. I care that you all grow. I mean, and there's some guys that don't see the field. Some of my favorite players play the least. It doesn't mean that I don't love them and they're not amazing people. It means that there are guys better than them. That's competition. And I don't want to limit competition. It's like it's not a union. I don't have a union mentality when it comes to that. It's an expectation of excellence, and if you achieve it, and you're younger and you can contribute, that's going to put you on the field.
Right.
I believe it breeds the best environment for competitive excellence.
Just have to put the best 9 out there.
Yeah, I guess so. My final
Always.
question is, and this is, I feel like this is an important one, and probably the most important one I've asked is, so you're coming into a situation where you're returning 5 starters, 6 starters, really. How do you balance bringing in a fresh new culture and building your freshmen into what you want this program to be, while having guys who are kind of established, kind of stuck in their ways, and how do you add to what they do as upperclassmen? And and build that bond and help them understand what your culture will be as a group.
The good news is that I don't have to. I mean, they learn the right stuff, so I'm in a great situation because I'm going to expect them to be leaders. Hey, those young guys, pick one. They're yours. Grow them up. Teach them the way it's supposed to be done around here. Because if I come in and try to do it all myself, that's not going to work. Not going to work. They have to. They're going to play their best baseball when they're playing for each other, and they're depending upon each other, and they're holding each other accountable. When they have their own meetings between innings, that's when they're going to play their best baseball, because it's going to be intuitive and organic. It's not going to be forced. It's not going to become. They're not going to be waiting to do the next thing I tell them to do. They're going to do the next thing that they know is right, and the guys that have been there longer know how to do that. And so why not lean on them? You've earned the right to be a leader, right? But to whom much is given, much is expected. So your job is to turn around, pay it back, roll the other guys up. So then when they're you, they have the same. That's the culture. It's the growth culture, and that's sustainable, and that builds the right type of program over decades.
I like that. It's huge. Huge future coming at Dayton Christian as they move into SWBL and move in with the new head coach, Marty Orwick. I think I'm really excited. Josh Rayburn, which is one of your assistants,
Oh yeah.
spoke to me. He said he's really excited to have you on. So it's really cool to see what's going down like live. But unfortunately, that's about all the time we have today. Marty, I just wanted to thank you again for coming on and talking with us today, having a conversation. I enjoyed it heavily. And if you guys want to see more stuff like this, make sure you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And to never miss a notification on social media, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, boys.
It's America's favorite pastime. Come on, let's have a good time. Slinging seeds. Yeah, we're just slinging seeds.